Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
It's time for Tip-Off Tuesday.
There's no magic formula.
Eric Williams, three. Good at the shot clock buzzer. Young all the way to the basket with two hands.
We're going to have to get ready for everything.
Ducks get it to Richardson. His three is good.
And one of the things that I'm really proud of is next game attitude.
Sedona Prince follows, scores, and is fouled.
Harry steps into a long three and hits it. Softly lay it in. Ducks take the lead.
Down the stretch, we made the plays, and that's what a good team's got to do.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. Let's talk Oregon Ducks basketball. From the Country Financial Studio, alongside Terry Jonz, here's Joey Mack.
Well, I wish that Terry Jonz was alongside, but Terry and the Oregon women's basketball team, if you're live with us in the afternoon on Tuesday when we're recording the show here in the afternoon, if you're watching the show on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, well, they're on their way to Boulder. They're on their way to take on Colorado. A little bit of an odd schedule this week for Oregon women's basketball and Oregon men's basketball. 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, the Ducks will take on the Buffs in Boulder. Terry Jonz with a 5:30 pregame show for you. And then it's a little odd, too, because on Saturday at noon with an 11:30 Pacific time pregame show, Terry Jonz on the air for Oregon women's basketball taking on Utah. So this was actually scheduled this way beginning of the season. These aren't like makeup games on a Wednesday like the Ducks have had over the last, few weeks, actually. In fact, Oregon has played more games, or at least tied for the most games played since the start of February. Oregon women's basketball. They have played more games than pretty much everybody over the last few weeks, and back-to-back 3-game weeks for the Ducks. And the schedule has been intense for Oregon women's basketball. And they're coming off a win over Cal and a loss to Stanford. And, it's so funny. Like, in some ways, it felt like for the women's team, they didn't play that well against Cal, but then they ended up playing great against Stanford, and you'd think, well, that probably results in a loss to Cal and a win against Stanford, but it was actually flip-flop. That's just Stanford being a really good team. So the Oregon women's team going 1-1 over the weekend, and as it stands in the Pac-12 standings, Stanford is 14-0, then it's Washington State at 10-5, and Oregon at 10-5, Arizona behind them at 9-5. That's the top four in the Pac-12 standings for women's basketball here as we sit this week. Meanwhile, for Oregon men's basketball, a rough trip to the state of Arizona. The Ducks did not play well against Arizona State, but then they played really well against Arizona. Now, unfortunately for the men, they played really well against Arizona, but they didn't get the win, and they didn't play well on Thursday, and they didn't get that win either. It was so funny, the parallels between the two teams, right? Like, the theme of the weekend was kind of like, oh, so close for both basketball teams this past week. So Oregon men's basketball, with their now 10-6 record in conference, they're sitting in fourth place. Colorado's behind them at 10-7. And then the two teams that Oregon is going to face at home in the final homestand at Matthew Knight Arena this year, UCLA and USC, are sitting at 12-4. Arizona atop the conference at 14-1. The Ducks with a huge matchup against UCLA at Matthew Knight Arena. Get your tickets, goducks.com/MBBTix. That's MBBTIX. 6:30 with a 6 o'clock pregame show, and it's a big matchup because the last time Oregon played UCLA, they got the win. Ducks took down a pair of top 5 teams on the road earlier this year when they beat UCLA and USC on that road swing. Now they got to take care of business at home. And I know everybody's wondering, where do they sit in the Pac-12 tournament projections? I think you got to sit in the top 4, but where do they sit in the NCAA tournament projections? Well, right now they're out. Can they get back into the field? Can they get inside that bubble? Maybe, but they're going to have to get some big wins. And Duck fans, they need you. They need you at Matthew Knight Arena this week. There's no doubt about it. So, a little bit of an odd week ahead, with the women playing on a Wednesday and a Saturday and the men playing on Thursday and Saturday. It's a big weekend for the Ducks, and we'll talk about all of it on Tip-Off Tuesday. Mike Mennenga, Oregon assistant coach, and Kelly Graves, Oregon women's head coach. That's on the docket for today. Quick timeout. When we come back, Mike Mennenga will join us here in the Country Financial Studio on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Ready to get back in the game? Great news. The movement experts at Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists can help you find relief and results and keep you off the sidelines. With 15 convenient locations across Portland, contact Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists today at proactivepts.com to see a physical therapist. Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists, a proud partner of Oregon Athletics and trusted choice for keeping Duck fans in the game.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest, cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's Tip-Off Tuesday. The Ducks getting ready for UCLA on the men's side. We're going to talk with assistant coach Mike Mennenga. He joined us earlier today in the Country Financial Studio, getting ready for that 6:30 tip-off final homestand at MKA after the weekend in the desert. Our conversation with Mike Mennenga. All right, let's talk with men's basketball assistant coach Mike Mennenga. Coach, hey, it's great to have you here in the studio. Thanks for being in the Country Financial Studio. Every time we do this show every week, I never know what I'm going to get on a week-to-week basis, right? Because it could either be that the team goes on this big winning streak, something historic happens. Well, last time you were in the studio, that's what happened. You guys got
we were covering,
teams.
I mean, things were happening that haven't happened since 1976.
Yeah.
Things that have been happening since, like, Happy Days were happening.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, you know what I mean? So we certainly need some more of those happy days happening this week, that's for sure.
And the reason I bring that up is now this is the second time that we've had Coach Mennenga with us on Tip-Off Tuesday, and I have a feeling that you could be doing something historic again this week, right? Because the last time that you were on, it was beating UCLA and USC the week before. Now you're looking to do that here coming up this week. You know, I didn't mean to do it that way, that you're just apparently like the matchups with the LA schools guy. So
I guess so. You know what I mean? I guess so. Hopefully I bring some of that mojo from the last time, you know what I mean? That kind of sprinkles into our fan base. You know, we get a little vibe going this week.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, we definitely need that. You know, it was a lot of lessons learned in the desert. You know, we went in there and we laid an egg on Thursday against Arizona State. A lot of questions were asked about who we are, what our identity is. We were looking in the mirror, coaches, players, everybody. You know, and as Coach says, we're not much for moral victories here at Oregon basketball anymore, but Saturday was certainly an effort and a fight. And like I said, the guys gave one from the heart. It just is too bad that we just didn't execute down the stretch. And to be quite honest with you, Arizona played great. You know what I mean? They shot it really well, and it just wasn't enough time on the clock for us to make up the difference. So, man, you know. That's a lot, you know. Yeah. So again, you know, the challenge now is in front of us, and it's pretty obvious what needs to get done.
Well, I want to talk about the week ahead, but also, you know, you brought up looking back a little bit. Take fans through the coaching mentality, if you will, of a team that has a tough one on Thursday. Mm-hmm. And you guys, I mean, it's your job to stay positive, and I see it on the road. You guys, that's a tough job, right? After a team doesn't perform the way that they want to. And clearly something went right, Coach. I mean, you guys did something right with this team because of the effort that you got on Saturday. Walk fans through that process, if you could. Like, what's going through your mind? How do you coach the guys? What do you do in that situation?
Well, great stuff. Obviously, you fall in line with the number one guy, with Coach Altman. So one thing that remains consistent all the way through is, got to bring energy.
Right.
You're either giving it or taking it, and obviously from a staff perspective, our job, that's what we're here. You know what I mean? I think that's a big part of the reason why we've been successful is the consistent energy, positive, teaching, putting that out there that we got to get better, at the same time challenging them, but at the same time, coming off Thursday, they knew that they didn't give their best effort, and it's that ownership, I think, that's so important this time of year. Mm-hmm. And I think any coach that's coached, that's been fortunate enough to be a part of a championship teams, consistent winning teams, the players really take it over. You know what I mean? I've always tell the story when I get asked that, what's the formula? You know what I mean? And I say, I find myself coaching every play October, November, and then by the end with the great ones, Coach, we got this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Coach, stay over there.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be at the best. I'm a great cheerleader.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? And, I think we're trying to find, we're almost in that groove. We need that, and I think we showed that on Saturday at Arizona. But, again, to their credit, Arizona's got a really good team.
They didn't give you much, did they? I mean, they hit some shots, played pretty good defense.
That's what I said. They played very well. It was Coach always used the term 40-minute fight. That was, one doubt, a 40-minute heavyweight fight.
I think that was the best Pac-12 basketball game that we've seen all year. And there have been some good ones throughout the entire conference. And I know it didn't go the Ducks' way, but still a high-level game, which shows – I think it's twofold here, right, Coach? I mean, you guys now can see this is what this team could be. But then it's also frustrating that they haven't been able to attain that yet, right? I mean, that's a tough mindset right now.
No doubt. I mean, it is a tough mindset, and that's exactly where we're at as a team. You know what I mean? And there's no – the good thing about it, the Pac-12 is a great basketball conference. They proved it last year in March Madness. It's showing signs of that same caliber again this year. And obviously, you got two of the best in front of you. So UCLA commands your attention. We found ourselves down there in LA, and it doesn't happen too often that we get that done like we were talking about last time. So, they got our attention, and Coach. Coach is at his best during these times. You know what I mean? We like I said, you know what I mean? We just got to have at it, and we need everybody all in this week.
Well, we saw what a great environment for Arizona at McHale Center could do, and you guys rose to that occasion, I thought. I felt like the energy on the bench kind of rose with the crowd. Yeah. You know what I mean? That happens in a road environment, but it can also happen in a home environment.
No doubt.
But before we talk a little basketball, the nitty-gritty, Coach, just what does an environment do for you? I mean, we can always say, fans are great, it really helps us, but when you're on the bench, what does a great environment at Matthew Knight Arena do? How does it help the team?
I think it helps it directly at how they perform. I mean, it's amazing when you feel that roar of the crowd, or you're feeling that moment when you're coming off, when Shout just got done playing, and it just, from a player, from a coach, you could feel that extra boost in the atmosphere of the arena. And I think it just makes guys give that extra effort, gives them get extra jump that, I might be able to not get it, but you know what? I'm going to go for it anyways, So basketball's such a momentum flipping game. And anytime you could get that type of energy going your way, it could lead to a big run or a big stop.
Well, let me do this. Coach, that's your camera over there.
Okay.
I'm just going to turn the floor to you. I mean, tell the fans just how –
Get the mic?
I mean, yeah, that's right. Get the mic. I mean, this is the final homestand. I mean, just talk to the fans. What do they need to know heading into this week?
Well, it's a huge week for us, Duck fans, Duck students. We need you all there. Starts Thursday night versus UCLA, 6:30. And even though it's February, it's 100% March Madness right now in Eugene. And we need everybody to follow those rules. Just get straight mad. So, yellow, you're going to come in. Thursday night, you're going to yell that O, rocking the yellow.
I like
That's
that.
the challenge. Everybody in that yellow on Thursday night.
Okay, yellow. So I didn't know that we were doing that. But
It's just like that.
I got the Stomp Out Cancer polo on today.
Love it.
It was the first one on the closet rack, and so, it worked out.
No play call necessary.
No.
Joey's getting denied on the wing. I see it. He goes back door. Bucket. Yellow right here, guys. Yellow.
Like
Rock that yellow.
I like it. UCLA in town, USC coming up, and look, the Pac-12 standings. Arizona's 14-1, then it's USC and UCLA are 12-4. You guys are sitting there at 10-6. You're within striking distance with these teams in front of you.
And obviously, it's so critical going into that March piece. Getting that bye. Yeah. And because it's a long day, if you have to play 4 games in 4 days, you have to get that bye and get into it, especially the caliber of the teams that we're playing against. So, that being said, Thursday night puts us in a great position for another great championship run in Vegas and a March Madness run, hopefully all the way into April.
Hoping that that's the case after the Ducks, I think, had some momentum against Arizona. Now they got to keep it going. 6:30 against UCLA on Thursday, a 6 o'clock pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network. When we come back, part 2 of our conversation with assistant coach Mike Mennenga on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has been the credit union serving the University of Oregon community. From the bright yellow Duck debit card to the Duck Visa Rewards card. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU, where you'll find fewer fees, higher savings rates, and lower rates on loans, and lots of fellow Duck fans. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/Go Ducks.
Watch Will Smith in action as the father of 2 of the world's most gifted athletes in King Richard, now available at Redbox. Based on the inspiring true story of tennis legends Venus and Serena Williams, Smith portrays Richard Williams, an undeterred father driven by a clear vision and unconventional coaching methods that took his daughters from the streets of Compton, California to the global stage as legendary icons. This profoundly moving film shows the power of family, perseverance, and unwavering belief as a means to achieve the impossible and impact the world. Watch King Richard and make it a Redbox night. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
You're listening to Ducks basketball on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school. The same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/one small step. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Back on Tip-Off Tuesday, Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon women's basketball head coach Kelly Graves coming up. First, we continue our conversation with men's basketball assistant coach Mike Mennenga before the Ducks take on UCLA at 6:30 on Thursday. It's big homestand. Talking about that and more. Zeroing in on the big men with assistant coach Mike Mennenga. I'm going to give my opinion here. You don't have to agree with it, but with the way that the Pac-12 has played and sitting here with 3 top 16 teams right at the top of the standings, and then you got Oregon, a established basketball team that wins in March. If you finish in the top 4 in the Pac-12, I feel like you're probably an NCAA tournament team. I don't know. Maybe the perception of the league is different, the net rankings, all the metrics. Just as a coach in this league, this is a 4-team league for the NCAA tournament.
Oh, I
right?
think without a doubt, and I think history shows itself. You know what I mean? And obviously, you go to last year, and that was an incredible run by the Pac-12. Yeah. And historically, taking my Oregon hat, if that's even possible, you know what I mean? Coach Altman-led teams are very, very good in the month of March. So hopefully, those are type of intangibles that continue to push on that mantra.
I want to talk with you about a couple of the big men. And I thought that we saw one of the better performances from N'Faly Dante over the weekend. A double-double, a career high in rebounding, just his development coach, and frankly, just his ability to stay on the floor. It makes you guys a different basketball team.
100%. That physical presence that N'Faly gives, that Frank gives, that we are wanting Nate to give us is that leads to all these little plays that may not show up in the stat book, whether it's a deflection, a block shot because somebody got beat off the bounce. You know what I mean? Just just walling up a surefire layup just because he's getting a little physical. So those guys bring all those little things, and Foley's got that extra dimension where he can go out and get 15 rebounds.
Right.
You know what I mean? He can go score a basket.
And he's a spot-up shooter now.
Wow.
We found that out.
We've had to pad up the gym a few times for some Frank Kepnon versus N'Faly Dante elbow jumper contests.
Sure.
But they have gotten better. They have gotten better, and Dante certainly bailed us out there. And you know what? To his credit, since last fall with his ACL injury, there's very few things he could do as far as cutting, moving, and so mid-range shooting and free throw shooting is something that he's been really focused in on, and something tells me he'll be back at that line down the stretch. Yeah. You know what I mean? He felt bad about that, but because he's focused so hard on that. And I just think that Dante's just at the peaking point of one heck of a run for him, going into March.
God, it's amazing to watch him work around the basket offensively. Just the touch is next level. Talking about Frank for a second, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the energy is off the charts. We know it. Frank Kepnon is a national treasure. I think we know that in terms of his energy. How do you, in practice, go about with a guy like that who's physical, who wants to play tough? What's the approach to coaching him to stay out of foul trouble? Because certainly that's been an issue. You know what?
We've said it from the beginning, and fouls cost minutes.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, Frank, he plays so hard. And the fact he plays as hard as anybody I've ever been around. The fact that he's 6'11", takes up a lot of space, and he bangs around in there. So we appreciate that physicality, but we need him on the floor. So I think it's just like Coach always says, just got to play more. He's just playing more. We're trying to put him in those type of 2-on-2 situations, 3-on-3, just getting him more and more reps.
Yeah.
And as he's gotten more reps, he's starting to get a little bit more technical and fundamental of his footwork and where he positions his hands. And, but at the same time, it's a delicate balance because you don't want to take away that downhill mentality, that physicality that he has. So, he's going to continue to get better, I think, as he just continues to play more.
Yeah.
He's
also, I feel like, Coach, one of the smarter guys in the gym. And that's maybe basketball, but also just beyond that. I mean, that's why I say I think fans, he's such a fan favorite, right? Not just because of the energy, but he's just genuinely a good dude, isn't he?
Frank is great, high energy, and he's always bringing that positivity. Like I said, Coach says you're either energy giver or energy taker. He is energy giver 10 times. Frank takes his academics very seriously.
Yeah.
Right now, he's he's working towards the Pac-12 is an amazing grant coming up, going towards leadership conferences and pieces like that for student athletes like Frank. So Frank is a nominee.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? So he's in a competition for that. Hopefully he does that. So you may not know this about Frank, but Frank is into robotics and drones. So a little story with this came up is part of this nomination is that you have to put together like a proposal, like a purpose to what you're going to do with this. And so I hit Frank with this and be just like, oh, Coach, I'd love to do this. And I said, but you got to put something together. No problem. I have it put together. I have a PowerPoint for you right now. I was just like, you have a PowerPoint, huh?
This is great.
And I was just like, you have a PowerPoint ready for me right now? Oh, yes, Coach. I'll email it to you immediately. Oh. So there we were, off to the races for this incredible Pac-12 piece. You know what I mean? He may or may not get it, but it certainly won't be for lack for not being prepared to do something like that.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
I know he's talked before about how he with robotics and interest in that. I mean, he could literally be a rocket scientist, right?
He could definitely be an actor as either one, the real one or the one.
Great.
I mean, he is very he's passionate about it. And he's knowledgeable, and that's one of his hobbies.
Cool.
Is that type of thing.
Cool.
So, anyways, I thought
off the floor. I love that. Hey,
yeah.
You mentioned Nate Biddle. I think that fans have been excited to see him getting some play lately. What's the next step for Nate? Because I feel like there's so much more potential there for Nate Biddle.
Oh, there's no doubt. You know what I mean? Just because the way he runs the floor, how long he is, he's got great hands. I think just every player is its own unique set of variables and circumstances and mindset. And one thing that's certain for every incoming freshman at this level is the pace of play accelerates so much quicker. Where Nate when you're that long and athletic, you could take some time. Hey, ball's moving. I'm okay. I'm just going to chill out over here. But at this level, man, every pass, there's something to do. And if you don't do it, you get exposed immediately. Mm-hmm. So Nate's a super talented player, but now he needs to be a super talented player that could wins 40-minute battles and not as necessarily gets it, but doesn't give something up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Nate is adjusting to the pace of play. You know, he's getting stronger. You know, to the kid's credit, he's shifted gears here the last couple of weeks just as far as his doing more and doing extra. You know, so Nate Biddle's going to be all right. You know what I mean? He's going to be one heck of a player when it's all said and done.
I'm always curious when you head into a critical homestand like this. We've talked about just how big the crowd could be to help you guys. Keys on the floor. What's it going to take to be successful for you guys against these two teams?
Oh, man. You know what I mean? Just so you know, what's getting pounded in our head is rebounding.
Yeah. Rebounding. All the time.
Rebounding.
I mean, hey.
That's it.
I tell you,
end of story.
Coach,
this is a 40-minute fight. This is going to be – that's why we need that madness up in that night arena. This is going to be a heavyweight split decision 15-rounder, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, DJ Gemini on the wheels of steel, dropping fire. You guys are going to bring the madness. We're going to bring that physicality, and we're going to win the rebounding battle. And if we could do that –
you feel pretty good.
We will like the results to Coach Altman.
It's amazing. You know, one of Coach's most said phrases when I talk to him throughout the year is like, I know our fans get frustrated with me talking about how important rebounding is, but it is really important.
No doubt. It's basically rebounding. If you, I like boxing and that type of stuff. So it's, you know, punches thrown.
Yeah.
You know, and it's control. You know what I mean? You're controlling the game when you control the ball.
Yeah.
You know, and if you have the ability to go in there and get extra shots on goal, you know, because you're muscling guys and you just want it more. And I think that's the part of it that really gets into the home base.
No doubt. Yeah.
When your team's flying around getting the ball, you just want it more. And that leads to momentum shifts in the crowd, and it just takes on a whole new other level. And vice versa on the road.
Right.
You could do that to a team on the road. It quiets them down.
Take the crowd out of it.
You know, so that being said, that's where it really culminates on Thursday. I think if we could get that edge and show them that we're going to dominate that part of the game, I think a lot of things will open up for us, like transition, ball movement, you know, more shots, more opportunities to make shots. You know, anybody thrives off energy off shot making. So we need that, you know, and I think the core of that starts there.
Pit crew, we'll see you on Thursday.
Madness,
Coach.
yellow, all day, Thursday.
Yellow it is. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Coach.
the time.
Yep. All's good.
Mike Mennenga, assistant coach for the Ducks, joining us before UCLA and USC are in town for the Ducks. Of course, these are big-time games, 6:30 on Thursday on ESPN. And then 7 o'clock on Saturday, ESPN Family of Networks. Ducks and Bruins, Ducks and Trojans this week. When we come back, Terry Jonz sitting down with Kelly Graves before they head to Boulder. They're on their way there right now, actually, if you're live with us here in the afternoon on a Tuesday. And Kelly Graves had a lot to say after the weekend that was for the Ducks, and now they're getting ready to play Colorado tomorrow. Tip-Off Tuesday continues on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
If you'd have told me 50 years ago that we'd see kids drinking charged-up raspberry lemonade-flavored Mountain Dew Spark, and making videos, twerking their hind ends, well, sir, I just flat out not believed you. It does taste mighty good, though, don't it? Yeah. You know, this Mountain Dew Spark is giving me a great idea. What's that? Think I'm gonna make a video, twerking my hind end.
Get bold with the raspberry lemonade flavor of Mountain Dew Spark.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Oregon Basketball from Learfield.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You ace vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesman to the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Joey Mack back with you here in the Country Financial Studio. Tip-off Tuesday as we get ready for the final men's basketball homestand. Well, the women's team just wrapped up that final homestand, and senior day was an emotional one. Cool to see Niara Sabally and Shannon Duffy celebrate a little bit. That was cool to see. Some emotions, as you can imagine, emotions run high. And emotions, I think, especially ran high because the Ducks felt like they were real close to giving Stanford their first Pac-12 loss of the season, and the Cardinal are the defending national champions. Felt like the Ducks played with a national champion contender. But now, what can they do to build after this weekend? They didn't play that well against Cal, got the win. They played pretty well against Stanford, but they didn't close the game as well as they would have liked. So now they can learn from that. They can build on it. And they're going to have to build on it because Colorado's a pretty good team, and you know that Colorado's looking to knock off the Ducks in that 6 o'clock Wednesday tip-off coming up. Terry Jonz with a 5:30 pregame show. And Terry Jonz sat down with Kelly Graves talking about the weekend that was and looking ahead. Here's Terry talking with KG.
All right, Coach, a week ago you got a win over UCLA. You went 2-1 on the week. Friday you went over Cal that maybe felt a little bit like a loss. And then, as we're recording here on Monday, a loss to Stanford that somewhat felt like a win. I mean, not into moral victories, but you were happy with the way your team played.
Much more so yesterday than Friday night. I don't know what happened Friday. That was one of those crazy games. I don't think it was a matter of us looking ahead. I mean, we knew what was at stake yesterday against the Cardinal, but. Yeah, I thought yesterday we had a chance to win, and I'm glad you mentioned the moral victory. I mean, we felt better after the game, even though we were very disappointed in the loss. It was a game that we really had a chance to win, and just down the stretch we didn't execute at either end. Really, we didn't. We had defended so well throughout the entire game, and we just kind of let up in the last few minutes of that game, and then offensively, a couple of turnovers, a couple of shots at the rim. And then when we needed that three there at the end, they kind of took away our first two options, and then, we didn't manage the rest of that possession well enough. Just a few things that could have gone our way, and they didn't. But credit Stanford, they're a good team. They're a veteran team. You look at the crew they have on the court. Anna Wilson, my goodness, she's Sabrina's age. They graduated high school the same year, and she's still there. Before the game, when I gave flowers to their graduating seniors, I kind of gave her a hard time. I said, now, you're really leaving now, right? I mean, but anyway, it was, a mixed bag weekend. The UCLA win was nice. So, it is what it is at this point. We obviously wanted to win the game, but I personally just didn't want Stanford to go undefeated. I think that cheapens the league a little bit when you have one team that can run the table like that. They still have two games at home that, who knows what will happen. But anyway, it was a mixed bag weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was good that you just pointed out now, but last night in your post game with the rest of the media, where you said, it's a learning process to learn how to win in those tight games. Stanford's done it, and they did it. And they had some young kids coming off the bench, too, with their depth. But it is a learning process to get in those, and you learn from maybe you got to take a loss or two, and then you learn how to win it.
Yeah. Well,
it's hard.
It is. It's a process. Their freshmen had a really nice game, but who had the ball in their hands late? The Hulls, seniors. Anna Wilson, a 6th-year senior. Haley Jones, a 3rd-year kid that's played obviously a ton of minutes. So, we got to find a way to get better. To be honest with you, we just got to do better, because now every team, including this week, I think both Colorado and Utah are NCAA tournament teams. Mm-hmm. And then whatever we get in the Pac-12 tournament and then the NCAA tournament, everybody now is a tournament team that we're playing. So we have to be able to execute better down the stretch.
But you feel pretty good about going into this stretch and into the postseason, the Pac-12 tournament, and then the NCAAs, right?
Well, I do. Yeah, I do. We've kind of taken 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're climbing. We're climbing. But we lose our footing every once in a while and slide back down a hill. I'll probably tell this story. I mean, once upon a time I actually climbed to the top of Mount St. Helens.
Whoa.
And, that last quarter mile or so is pretty shaky ground. And you literally, you take a step forward and you slide back a little. And it was the hardest part of the hike. And that just kind of seems like that's what we're doing. But we're going to hit our stride. I'm convinced. I like what I see overall, and I really like how the team came together before the Stanford game.
Yeah, because the good part, when they show up and they play really well, it's really good. You can play anybody.
I agree with you. I believe so. And look at the different players that have had good games recently. It's not just been 1 or 2 that we're having to rely on. Sedona had a really nice week. She didn't do as much yesterday against Stanford, but she had a great week leading up to that. We obviously know what Niara's capable of. Tahina looked a lot more like herself yesterday. India has shown that she can have those big games. Sydney Parrish had a nice game yesterday. And then we're getting good production off the bench with Philly and Kylie, giving us something. Maddie Shearer is just steady Eddie. So, you look at it, and I'm sure I forgot some people, but, we have a bunch of different players who have contributed, and we need that going forward.
And Darren Eha, ace SID here for women's basketball. Note, in the last 7 games, defensive numbers, you have held teams to 32.2% shooting and 24.3% from threes. That's some darn good defense.
That's good defense. That's the kind of defense that will allow us to really advance in any postseason play tournament. So, we just it's funny. Isn't it funny? Since I've been here, I know I took over a program run by Paul Westhead, who was all about offense. I'm an offensive coach. We've always been among the best teams in the country offensively. It's now our defense that's really carrying us. We'll have some of those games offensively where it looks like us, but that's been the struggle point this year, and it baffles me, to be honest with you, because I think we have some really good offensive players. Just sometimes those pieces aren't fitting together like we need them to.
You mentioned Kylie Watson as one of them coming off the bench, and I thought Bev made a good remark during the broadcast that Kylie's been prone to get in foul trouble, but we saw her grow up, I thought, during that game. And Bev was saying, too, that she was learning how to play physical without fouling.
Yeah, and, I've just got such high expectations of Kylie. I think the world of her. I truly do. And, you're right. Sometimes it's a struggle for her, but then she'll show flashes, and that's why we've stuck with her with, that early coming off the bench. Because I believe in her, and I think she can be a really good player. And she's, it's funny, I think she's one of those X Factor kids. Yep. And at some point in our run now from here to the end of the year, she's gonna help us win a game. Mark my words. I think she's going to do something, have an important stretch, whatever, that will help us win a key game.
Well, if you would have gotten the win, it would have been the first time in program history a win over a number 1 or number 2 ranked team. But I'll tell you what, you play the way you did. It's going to happen. There's no doubt about that. The standings, Arizona lost at Washington State. Thank you, Cougars, but still a half-game lead on Arizona, but that put the Cougars at 10-5. But you do have the tiebreaker. They have to play at Stanford, I think, on Friday night. So, second or third, there's not a lot of difference into the tournament, as there is for seeding, but But you might as
as far
finish
as
high
seeding,
you
as far as getting that first round bye, there's not. And then if you happen to win that quarterfinal game, you would play each other. You're just basically going for who gets the home, who wears the home whites, and who's wearing the road colors. But I have no idea. I haven't even looked at that yet because it's. We still
2 more games.
Well, we do. Yeah, you have to play 2 more games, and I think we've got to win 1 or 2 of those games to avoid us maybe playing that first day. It's not completely out of the question for us to have to play. If you look at those closely, there's still a chance that we're on the outside looking in and having to play that for that first day. So we got some work to do this week.
Yeah, Utah's at number 5 with 6 losses. We're at 5 losses, and Colorado at 7. So yeah, you're right. There's a chance.
Yeah, no, we've got something to play for here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely something to play for. That's Kelly Graves talking with Terry Jonz. We got more coming up on Tip-Off Tuesday, finishing up their conversation after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has been the credit union serving the University of Oregon community. From the bright yellow Duck debit card to the Duck Visa Rewards card. If you're a Duck, you belong at OCCU, where you'll find fewer fees, higher savings rates, and lower rates on loans, and lots of fellow Duck fans. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/Go Ducks.
Ready to get back in the game? Great news. The movement experts at Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists can help you find relief and results and keep you off the sidelines. With 15 convenient locations across Portland, contact Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists today at proactivepts.com to see a physical therapist. Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists, a proud partner of Oregon Athletics and trusted choice for keeping Duck fans in the game.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Back on Tip-Off Tuesday here in the Country Financial Studio, Terry Jonz and Kelly Graves were continuing their conversation as the Oregon women get ready to take on Colorado tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Let's hear more from the head coach, Kelly Graves.
Well, with the standings, we talked about that, but yesterday a special day, senior day, a couple of seniors, Niara Sabali. Let's start with her before we talk about Shanna Duffy, but Niara.
The sophomore Niara?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, technically, she's probably still a freshman. I don't know how this COVID thing worked, or she could get her sophomore year back. Yeah, Niara is, I think she frustrates us, right? You've been here this whole time, and then we're marveled by, the talent that she has. And, I think just with her, I bless her heart, she's just got – she just has so many physical ills, that she's had to battle through. And I think she's still, in the back of her mind, she's thinking of those knees. It's tough. You've done the same knee ACL-wise twice. That's going to make you be a little bit uneasy, most of the time. But what a great young woman. I mean, she truly is. She's, means a ton to our program. She leads the young kids. Her voice is really strong in the locker room, And, and she's going to be a really great pro. I think, her and Satu, I think both have a chance to maybe play in an all-star game either with each other or against each other someday, which would be pretty cool. But and then Shannon Duffy, I apologized to her after the game yesterday. I really wanted to get her in the game. And she's fine. She's a sixth-year player herself. She's been around. She's been the main player on a team at Utah State for a few years, then sat out a year, went to Missouri, was a piece of that team, and now she's become a piece of ours. And just what a great attitude, great student. She's going to leave here with a master's degree and a bright future. And, and she's actually been playing more and more recently and does a good job for us. Comes in and makes a real positive impact. So, we're going to miss those two. Not a ton of seniors, but, we're going to miss them both.
Yeah, I met Eileen and Oliver Saturday at practice, her Shannon's parents from Melbourne, and they hadn't seen – I don't think they've seen each other with this pandemic for a while.
It was 570 days.
Is that what – yeah?
Between the time she had seen him. I mean, that's – people don't realize sometimes these student athletes that live, that are here from out of the country – that's not easy, man.
No.
I mean, just think about it in your own life. You don't see any of your family for almost 2 years.
Yep.
That's
at a young age.
Yeah, exactly. At a young age like that, that's quite a commitment.
Yeah, they said she might want to coach a little bit, so that's.
Well, she's certainly smart enough
to,
which could probably exclude her. She's too smart. I mean, the coaches, you leave that for us, dumb guys.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about Niara and Satu maybe playing in the pros together. 2 years, when she came, I'm sure the plan was for them to play for 2 years together, along with Sabrina, that whole other group. Just another thing that you kind of wonder what it would have been like, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it just didn't happen. I think that was a huge regret for both of them. They really wanted to play with each other at some point, and who knows? That could happen. And it'll obviously happen with the national team. When they start playing together in that full time.
Yeah, I think the German national team's going to be pretty good here.
It could be. You look at Emily Bessoir down at
Bessoir at
UCLA, and that whole cohort's been pretty good. We recruited most of them. We recruited Emily a little bit, and on, and so we got to know that German cohort pretty good. It's a nice class.
Well, there was another senior day over in Spokane, and you got to make that. We talked about it last week, and I just say I appreciate you so much showing us what it's like to be a dad. I mean, it's tough for a coach, male or female, to be a mom or a dad, to do all that, and you do it well, and you made the sacrifice. I'm sure it was a tough drive back.
Yeah, it was. But I appreciate a lot of people who had read my tweet and actually called me. I was
going to ask you.
I was talking on the phone until about 2:30, 3 o'clock to somebody. I got a call from somebody in Chicago, a coach that I know, and it was about 11:30 our time, which made it 2:30 or 1:30 his, and I'm going, what are you doing? I mean, it is a Saturday night, and I know him, and he's he's probably just getting in from the club or something. But anyway, it was I flew up there Saturday and got to experience senior day myself. I've been in 100 of them, it seems like, but. And this was fun. It was great to walk out on the court with him, and and he got the start that night. They played Santa Clara, which is a really good team, and he did real well. And and then he got to speak after, and they cut down the nets. They had clinched the regular season championship. We had a party with all the seniors and all the rest of the team and parents and stuff. Mary and Mark Few's wife Marcy had put all this together, so I went over there and hung out there, and I started looking at my watch. I go, it's 10 p.m. I got to go. I waited as long as I could, and so, drove that 7 hours down to Eugene, and it was a challenge. But, got myself a big cup of coffee and some, I hate to admit, some powdered donuts.
A little sugar and coffee. There you go.
And only caught myself rolling down the window a few times, but I had a flight that next morning. I'm sorry, this
it's fine.
This story's going on and on. You can cut it if you want. I had a flight Sunday morning, 8:20, out to Portland, right? But that gets you into Portland at 9:30. You got to rent a car, drive home. That's 2 hours from the airport. I'm looking, going, well, that's going to be a 12 o'clock arrival. That's if everything goes right.
Yeah.
I mean, I have zero confidence in the airlines right now. You know, we've been I mean, the stuff you have to go through now. And so anyway, that's why I drove it. I really thank my staff. They had the team ready, and the leadership of the team, we were ready. You know, whether I was there or not, that's probably helped them. You know, but so I had to miss practice on Saturday, but it was we played well. And it's tough for all the aspiring coaches that might be listening. You know, there are a lot of great things you get out of the profession. It's a great profession. The negative, and I say this when I speak to groups, they always ask, what's the toughest part? It's you do miss family time.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things that happen in the family that you just can't go to. And that's tough. So it was great being there. Sorry about the long story.
We loved it. We loved it, buddy. Hey, thanks for always being available. We appreciate you, and let's go get a couple wins in the mountains.
Let's do it. Yeah. Altitude, big guy.
Yeah.
Are you trained and ready?
No. But we'll make it. I'll follow your lead. I might be grabbing onto your belt or something.
I've always felt at altitude, you get your team in and out quickly.
Yeah.
Quickly, early in the game. It actually allows them to get their second wind a little bit. If you try to extend that, they hit a wall. So we're going to kind of move in like hockey. Move them in and out real quick. Is that true? Am I on the right track there?
Sounds right to me.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
See you, bud.
That was Scott agreeing and just saying, yeah, it sounds good. I mean, who are we to say otherwise, Coach? But yeah, it sounds good, you know. So you might see some more substitutions, which is normal when you play at altitude like that. So the Ducks, it's an odd schedule this week. In Boulder, Oregon women's basketball, the 5:30 pregame show tomorrow, Wednesday on the 23rd, 6 o'clock. The Ducks will be taking on the Buffaloes. And this is a big weekend for Oregon women's basketball because they're trying to stay, just like the men, trying to stay in that top 4 of the Pac-12 standings. It's Stanford, Wazoo, Oregon, Arizona right now. 14-0, 10-5, 10-5, 9-5. Ducks get a win here against a Colorado team that's sitting at 7-7 in Pac-12 play. That's huge for the Oregon Ducks. That's huge for the Oregon women. That's what's coming up over the course of this week. 6 o'clock on Wednesday for the Duck women, and then at noon on Saturday, Oregon will take on Utah. For the men, UCLA, 6:30 at Matthew Knight Arena. That begins the final homestand for the Ducks. And then 7 o'clock on Saturday. My thanks to Mike Mennenga. My thanks to Kelly Graves. My thanks to Terry Jonz. My thanks to Mitchell Lee. My thanks to Scott Phillips. It takes a village to get the show on the air. I'm Joey Mack. Go Ducks, everybody.
Watch Will Smith in action as the father of 2 of the world's most gifted athletes in King Richard, now available at Redbox. Based on the inspiring true story of tennis legends Venus and Serena Williams, Smith portrays Richard Williams, an undeterred father driven by a clear vision and unconventional coaching methods that took his daughters from the streets of Compton, California to the global stage as legendary icons. This profoundly moving film shows the power of family, perseverance, and unwavering belief as a means to achieve the impossible and impact the world. Watch King Richard and make it a Redbox night. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.